Hi, this is Kristin Diwan. We're here at the Arab Gulf States Institute, and we're thrilled today to have with us Dr. Mark Thompson. Mark Thompson is the author of a very recent book called Being Young, Male, and Saudi, Identity and Politics in a Globalized Kingdom. And we're really thrilled to have him here just to talk to us a bit today. And we wanted to do a short thing to get through some of the themes that he's done in the books. And Mark, you just wrote for us a small piece in which you said that it's very important not just to talk about young men in Saudi Arabia, but to talk to Saudi young men. So tell us a bit about what you learned from doing this and why you decided to write this book.
Well, I decided to write the book because the huge socio-cultural and socio-economic changes we see in Saudi Arabia, or we've seen in Saudi Arabia over the last few years, outside of the kingdom, the focus has really mainly been on how these affect Saudi women and the changing role of Saudi women in society. And a lot less really about how these are impacting on young Saudi men. And of course, that's all part of the same picture and the same story. And I felt that that was an aspect that had been there was very little research on this. And so I felt that this was something that was important and that's something that should be looked at because obviously, as the role of Saudi women in society changes, this also has an impact on their relations with Saudi men, yes, and particularly young men.
So when you flip that vision and you start to look at things from the position of young Saudi men, particularly in this time where we've seen just incredible transformation. I mean, we've seen a complete generational shift and turnaround within the kingdom, both in the leadership and in the expression of the population from below. What are the main things that you heard from them about their main interest drivers and concerns?
Well, I mean, with their main concerns, I mean, I did around 50-odd focus groups all across Saudi Arabia, not just in the main urban centers, but also out in the provinces and with young Saudis from all walks of life. And the main concern right across the kingdom was employment. And that, regardless of who I spoke to, it was all about jobs. Right. And then after jobs, it was about affordable housing. So jobs, affordable housing, cost of living, the cost of getting married, things that actually are remarkably similar to their peers around the world, but things that with these huge changes that we're seeing, that things that do concern them enormously. And I think that the changes, the transformations, the societal transformations that we've seen, yes, they're very exciting on one level, but on another level, they do cause a certain amount of anxiety and apprehension amongst certain groups of young people. And I think when we think about sort of individuals' identity, there's sometimes confusion between their sort of multiple online identities, or the identities that their identity narratives that they have with their friends or their peers, and then sort of the more sort of traditional family identities and things like this. So I think there's sometimes sort of a conflict between accepted norms and sort of actually life in sort of contemporary the globalized kingdom, particularly in the big cities.
Well, we know that Saudi has long been globalized, but is engaging in really different ways. So I think I really recommend Mark's book for those of you who want to dig a bit deeper and understand exactly how these transformations are playing out, both online, the things that we can see, and both inside the homes and in these places from somebody who really knows Saudi Arabia well. So thank you, Mark.
No, many thanks for the invitation.